0 o'clock. Imagine waking up one morning to find that 10 days have simply vanished from the calendar. Not a sci-fi movie plot, but a real historical event that happened all over the world. How did humanity lose entire days? And why was it necessary to steal them back? This is the incredible story of how our calendar was fixed. A tale of emperors, popes, and the universal quest to master time itself. 0. 30-hour story begins in ancient Rome, with a calendar in chaos. The Roman calendar was a mess. It was a lunar system that constantly fell out of sync with the seasons. Festivals would drift, planting seasons became unpredictable, and political leaders would even manipulate the calendar by adding or removing days to extend their term or mess with their rivals. It was complete chronological anarchy. 1 o'clock, enter Julius Caesar. In 46 BC, fresh from his campaigns in Egypt, where he observed their more stable solar calendar, he decided to bring order to Roman time. With the help of the astronomer Sosigenes of Alexandria, he introduced the Julian calendar. The concept was revolutionary in its simplicity. A year would be 365.25 days long. To account for that quarter day, they added an extra day every 4 years. This was the birth of the leap year, 130 to get everyone onto this new system. Caesar had to make a drastic one-time correction. The year 46 BC became known as the Year of Confusion because he had to add 90 extra days to it, making it 445 days long, just to realign Rome with the seasons. It was a massive, disruptive change. But for the first time, the Western world had a consistent, predictable way of tracking time. 2 o'clock, the Julian calendar was a huge improvement. It was so effective that it became the standard across the Roman Empire and, later, most of Europe for over 1,600 years. It seemed like the problem of time had been solved, but there was a tiny, almost imperceptible flaw in Caesar's math. A Julian year wasn't exactly 365.25 days. The true solar year, the time it takes for the Earth to orbit the Sun, is actually about 11 minutes and 14 seconds shorter, too. 11 minutes might not sound like much. Who cares about a few minutes a year? But over centuries, those minutes add up. Like a clock that runs just a little bit fast, the Julian calendar was slowly but surely drifting away from the actual seasons. Every 128 years, the calendar gained an extra day. By the 16th century, this small error had accumulated to a significant problem of about 10 full days. 3 o'clock. Why did this matter? Well, the drift was messing with something very important to the Christian world. The date of Easter. The First Council of Nicaea in 325 AD had decreed that Easter should be celebrated on the first Sunday after the first full moon, following the vernal equinox, the start of spring. But as the calendar drifted, the date of the equinox was slipping. The calendar said spring started on March 21st, but the sun said it was actually happening 10 days earlier, around March 11th. 3:30. This wasn't just a religious squabble. It was a fundamental breakdown between human timekeeping and the natural rhythms of the universe. The calendar, the very tool designed to track the seasons, was failing at its primary job. Astronomers, scholars, and church leaders knew something had to be done. The system was broken. 4. Oh. This brings us to Pope Gregory XIII. In the late 1500s, he assembled a commission of the brightest minds to tackle this centuries-old problem. Their solution was ingenious and twofold. First, they needed to refine the leap year rule to prevent future drift. The commission, led by physicist Aloysius Lilius and astronomer Christopher Clavius, came up with a new formula. 430, the Gregorian reform proposed that a leap year would still happen every 4 years. EXE. PT 4 years divisible by 100. Unless they were also divisible by 400. So, the year 1700, 1800, and 1900 would not be leap years. But the year 2000 would be. This tiny adjustment made the average calendar year so incredibly close to the true solar year that the new Gregorian calendar would only be off by 1 day every 3,300 years. A massive improvement. 5 o'clock, but this only solved the problem going forward. What a boat. 10 days that had already been gained. How do you fix a 1,600-year-old mistake? The Commission's answer was bold, audacious, and would create a moment of chronological whiplash for millions of people. They proposed to simply cut 10 days from the calendar. 5, 30. And so, in October of 1582, Pope Gregory XIII issued a papal bull, a formal decree, ordering the change. In Catholic countries like Italy, Spain, Portugal, and Poland, the calendar jumped straight from Thursday, October 4th, to Friday, October 15th. The days in between, October 5th, 6th, 7th, all the way to the 14th simply never happened. They were wiped from existence. 6 o'clock. Imagine the confusion. People went to bed on a Thursday and woke up on a Friday. But more than a week later, workers worried they wouldn't be paid for the missing days. Landlords and tenants argued over rent. People celebrating birthdays or anniversaries on those dates were out of luck for the year. There were riots in some places, with people shouting, "Give us back our 10 days." They felt that their lives had literally been shortened by the Pope. 6:30, but the transition wasn't global. The world in the 16th century was deeply divided by the Protestant Reformation. Protestant and Eastern Orthodox countries were deeply suspicious of anything decreed by the Pope in Rome. They saw the Gregorian calendar as a Catholic plot and refused to adopt it. This created a bizarre situation where different parts of Europe were living in different timelines. 7 o'clock 4 centuries, traveling from, say, Protestant London to Catholic Paris meant you had to adjust your calendar by 10 or 11 days. An international letter might have 2 different dates on it. This temporal divide caused chaos for trade, diplomacy, and science. 2 astronomers in different countries trying to observe the same celestial event would be recording it on completely different dates. 7:30 slowly but surely. However, the practical benefits of the Gregorian calendar won out. Protestant Germany and the Netherlands switched around 1700. Great Britain and its American colonies held out until 1752. By then, the drift had grown to 11 days. So, in September 1752, the British Empire skipped from September 2nd to September 14th overnight. Benjamin Franklin famously wrote, "It is pleasant for an old man to be able to go to bed on September 2nd and not have to wake up until September 14th. 8 o'clock, some countries took even longer. Russia didn't adopt the Gregorian calendar until after the Bolshevik Revolution in 1918. That's why their October Revolution actually took place in November, according to the Gregorian calendar. They had to skip 13 days to finally catch up with the rest of the world. Greece was the last major European country to switch, making the change as late as 1923. 8:30. The story of the missing days is more than just a historical curiosity. It's a profound testament to our relationship with time. It shows how a tiny error, compounded over centuries, can throw our entire world out of whack. And it demonstrates the incredible human drive for order, precision, and synchronization. 9 o'clock. The Gregorian reform was one of the first truly global standardization projects. It was an acknowledgement that for the world to become more connected through trade, science, and communication, we all needed to be on the same page. Orientisques. To accommodate the modern, interconnected world we live in, with its global financial markets, coordinated travel, and international projects, would be impossible without this shared calendar. Las 9:30 so. The next time you glance at your calendar, remember the chaos it replaced. Remember the courage it took to erase days from history and the centuries of confusion that followed. Our simple, orderly calendar is the silent legacy of one of the boldest and most necessary corrections in human history. A reminder that even time itself sometimes needs a helping hand. 9:50. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey through time as fascinating as I did, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more stories that shaped our world. Let me know in the comments what other historical puzzles you'd like to see untangled. See you next time.